started.
Where are blends? Am I sitting in the middle? Okay. Hola.
Hola. First of all, gracias to the PRF and to Henry Wilson for putting this wonderful production on, for putting the producer at the center. You've created a delicious blend. Gracias to my host, Café Granja La Esperanza. I had a wonderful time, the hospitality and the coffee. And finally, right? Gracias to my fellow panelists, Dale and Freda. We've had several illuminating conversations, and I'm grateful for all I've learned and continue to learn. So I'll start by very briefly, Henry reached out to me because he noticed that my company offers a lot of blends, and he asked me why. And for me, blends are so exciting. They're a creation, they're a product, and I'm able to create something for my consumer. It's a tailor-made construction, and I feel like that's very special because as a roaster, it's my belief that I exist in between the producer and the consumer, and in a way, my job, my role, is to provide value for both, as well as for my company and for my employees. And I feel for my company, we've found that with blends, we're able to do that very well. And I believe with blends, I can be very precise in that, in creating for all of the people involved in the chain. So we were introduced, so we'll skip. There's Freda. There's Dale.
That's Tony.
Oh, yeah. So let's get right into it. The first question, when we were speaking over several conversations, it became clear that there is a bias in specialty coffee, that blends are lower in quality than single origin. And I want to jump into that and learn a little bit more about what is quality, who defines quality, how do we measure quality, and where do these notions come from? So, Freda, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's an interesting question because I think quality is defined by the roastery, how they want to present the coffee to their consumer. So you can say, for example, I would like to have this blend, and you can use cup score 87 and blend together if you want to, or you can use 83, 84 if you want to. And 83, 84, 87, 86, it is the SCAE cupping score, cupping protocol, and that's how people taste the coffee and evaluate the coffee quality. So it really depends on what you're looking for as a buyer and a roaster, and how would you like to present your coffee. You can say, I would like to present a really, really high quality blend to my customer, and you can provide that. And you could say, okay, I want to provide a really, 83, 84, which is still really, really good coffee with more volume. You could do a blend as well. And I think that's quite interesting because when you ask this question, I didn't actually know how to answer it until I come back again and think about it. And it really is for the buyer to define how we would like to present it. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, and so it's the buyer and the roaster defines what the quality is.
Yes, that's my answer.
Okay. And it's measured by score.
It's measured by cup score, yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
What about you, Dale?
So it's a difficult question, and I'm going to try and be controversial. And
always, as always.
Always, yeah, it's more fun. One, I think there's a systematic problem in our industry if the roaster has the power to decide whether something is good and worth more money or not. Like, there's a power issue that I know lots of people are working to confront, but it's strong and it's systemic and it stays. I don't like the word quality I think it is almost useless. It's like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. It can mean lots of different things to different people. It's really hard to dig into it honestly and with depth and with good communication. I prefer qualities. So when you're looking for coffee, you might have a preference for a certain flavor, a certain process style. Somewhere you will be looking for certain coffees that fit your range and your mix effectively, maybe for blends, maybe for single origin. But maybe you're an Italian traditional roaster. You're looking for a coffee that's going to give crema and body in a traditional flavor. They're the qualities you value, which a Robusta can have. Or a low-grade coffee that's going to be a filler at low price and high volume. They're qualities that are valuable, and we shouldn't dismiss everything and put it down to just cup score, and that every farmer and every coffee needs to be working towards, why stop at 90, go to 100, you know? Like, it's crazy. That suits some coffees. If we just do it on cupping score, there are a lot of coffees out of there that are 84 that do not taste the same.
True.
You know, it doesn't always reflect all the things that make those coffees interesting. So I get the point. I don't disagree with anything you said, but I think broadening that scope and finding the right coffee for the right consumer, for the right roaster is really important. I think there is a market for everything, and there are ways of building business models, roasting, farming, cafes that can accommodate all the diversity of coffee that's out there.
Now, when we were talking, you said something very interesting to me that I've been thinking about. Only one thing, though. Everything else I forgot. But the interesting thing that I really remember from this conversation was that this gets at the heart of whether the value or the quality of coffee is intrinsic or extrinsic. And I have my own thoughts on that, but I'm wondering if you wanted to talk a little bit more about where that came from.
So I dismiss the word quality, partly because you know it when you taste it. If you're tasting coffees blind, which, you know, we're very privileged, we can go to a cupping here and we can taste 50 coffees with no information, and there are coffees there that shine. There are also coffees that, when you hear the story of where they're produced or how they've been processed, all of those factors that created the flavor, so they are intrinsic, they're part of the ingredients that made it, but they can also add additional value in the storytelling. For example, I can buy a coffee that's anaerobic processed or an experimental process, which is innovation and is exciting and interesting. Maybe the flavor is better or different, novelty, and that has some value. But there's also value in these magic new words that creates a premium, creates a story that people will seek out those coffees. And that's complicated and messy. And it doesn't need to be processing. It can be the country it comes from will add a value. You know, we differentiate between Colombian coffee. It can be the blend. A good brand name for a blend that ties into the roastery, that ties into the community that you're trying to sell to, the demographic. Actually, you know, that can add a value, a sense of belonging that increases your ability to monetize and sell that coffee, which you can then feed back to the producers who are producing the ingredient at the right level for their product.
A little sizzle to go with the steak.
Yeah, for sure. And marketing is part of everything. You know, the coffees have to stand out, they have to be unique, you have to help a customer make this choice over that choice.
Fantastic. Freda, do you have thoughts on that?
Well, firstly, I want to sort of jump back to your opinion, because I totally agree and I am 100% with you, but because I'm coming from a buyer's background, that I have to have something that put on contract saying this is what I'm buying. So that's why, and I need 84, 85.
You need a definition.
Exactly. That's why I'm answering in the way of this is the cup score, but 100% with you on that, because eventually it is up to the coffee itself to shine, and then we can't define by the cup score, because I had an experience before that I cupped with cuppers from UCC. For them, coffees that's for a specialty cupper, if it's our 83, 84, for some reason, the coffee is there 86, 87. And that creates a, I don't know, misunderstanding of, oh, like I thought we're on the same level. But eventually they're still, cuppers, they're still calibrated. I think that's the word I'm looking for. We, buyer and the seller, the producers, are calibrated, understanding that what value and what quality and what type of economy of scale that we want to bring together to the producer. And I think that's what blend is about and the definition.
Fantastic. To bring this back to definitions of single origin and blend and the differences between them, I think that sometimes, as I said in the beginning, single origins are defined as higher in quality or something along those lines. And my belief is that that comes from a notion of purity, that purity is superior to less purity. Personally, I find that a little bit troubling. I'm wondering where you think that notion of single origin as higher quality or higher value comes from versus maybe the complexity in a blend.
So jumping in, and again, being controversial, I think there's a false dichotomy between the choice. Single origin and blend, blends are for espresso, and that's how you create a great product. There are single origins, hundreds of them, that have amazing complexity and balance, and that can perform just as well. There are coffees that we describe as single origin and benefit from this provenance that are truly a blend of varieties, a blend of different styles of coffee from a farm or from a co-op of 2,000 members at different altitudes, at different things that aids their quality, that if it was just one part of that co-op, it would not be an exceptional coffee. But by blending these things together, it does have, maybe it's at the mill stage. Almost every coffee from Ethiopia is a blend of producers and varieties that somebody has crafted, like you were saying, that building process to build a product that suits a market and suits a need. I recognize that to my customers who are not, they're in the UK we say niche, which not niche. I don't get the difference. There's a niche of customers that value provenance and want to connect the flavors they're tasting with, well, what caused that? Was it the variety? Was it the process? Was it the soil or that part of the mountain, whatever? So they assign value to that story, will pay more for that coffee because they can connect some of the dots. There are other customers that doesn't matter to. I have coffees that I sell as single origin, but in order to buy the volume that I want and build a stronger relationship with the producer, half of that exact same lot of coffee I'll use as a blend component. And actually, they're the most valuable coffees to me because I can sell the story and I can tell the story, but they are complex enough to work for espresso or for a really, entry-level specialty flavor experience, but they also become the core of blends, the great body, the depth of flavor that my team can then layer on additional coffees in smaller volume to add a sparkle or some difference that is interesting.
Freda, do you feel as a buyer that you have a direction that you're heading with your buying insofar as the types of coffees that you buy and sell? Are you leading the industry? Are you leading the consumer?
Wow.
And do you have a preference?
Marketing-wise, I have to say yes, we're leading. No, I'm joking. I do think we are because we are working on direct trade model, and I understand direct trades to many different roasters in many different countries, or many different importers are so different. For us, the definition of direct trade is we're able to pre-finance the producer to tell them, hey, Erwin, for example, who is a Nicaragua producer that we've been working with for the past 11 years, I'm buying this amount of money, this amount of coffee next year with you. So then the producer receives the pre-booking, the contract, they can go to the bank and say, please, can you pre-finance us? And the power of negotiating the pricing or adjusting the pricing with the producers if we can, that for us is a direct trade model. And it definitely creates more of a value for not just me as a roaster, who we have been in this business for the past 17 years, but for the producers as well to grow together. And we can pre-book the coffee. The producers know how much they're going to grow, and then I know how much coffee that I can get in, and then we both benefit from that. For our products, we have a blend and also single origin coffee. And interesting you said that, because the single origin coffee is also part of the blend. And for that, we can create more volume for the producers, and the more volume means more benefit for the producers.
Fantastic, and we'll get into the economics of blends as well. Very interesting answer, and I think it ties in with a lot of what I've heard over the last 2 days about the hard economics of being a producer. Now, with a single sentence, what is a blend? I'll start with Dale.
Oh, it's hard.
It'd be controversial. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's say it is a crafted product involving multiple coffees, which could be different varieties from the same farm maybe, or different farms from one region. You know, single origin is also a very difficult thing to describe. So a crafted product with a number of coffees that ideally serves a unique purpose. I also believe should taste specifically unique to that blend, like you should be crafting a flavor thing, but maybe it's just about creating something that is consistent and reaches your market.
Freda.
That was more than one sentence. Thank you.
I lose.
For me, it was complexity. Should I explain? Then I can say more.
You have one sentence. No, you can.
For me, complexity, because you know, having a single origin is great sometimes because you can truly taste the terroir of that coffee. But to have a blend, you know, you can blend a Ethiopian coffee with a Brazilian coffee that you bring more floral notes to it, and you bring more nutty notes to it, that you fit the purpose of having a body of from the Brazil, you know, thicker, syrupy crema, and then also the complexity aroma notes, floral notes from Ethiopia. And that's why I think blend is super interesting, because you can make a lot of components together and create something that's truly complex.
Can I go again?
Yeah, please, always.
Yes.
A sales tool.
A sales tool. And you know, personally, I think that it's interesting. I have at least one product that is a single bean from a single farm at a single roast level that I market as a blend. And for me, it's a product, and the product is an idea. It's an idea to connect consumers, you know, with the product that they want or need. Where sometimes that involves, as Freda was saying, for me, layering flavor, creating flavor, and using different ingredients in and out of seasonality to maintain a consistent profile. And sometimes it's just a product, a name, or
Yep.
what you were saying. And I think sometimes I think of a single origin as like for me, why blends are so exciting, a single origin is like a ripe tomato in the right season, where I do my best to get out of the way and just serve it as it is. But you know, with a blend, I can
It's
create.
like a fruit salad.
Yeah, maybe so. Excellent, excellent. All right. Let's move on to aesthetics. And let's talk about, for our companies, what blends do we create and who do we create them for? Freda, why don't you start?
Yeah, we have 3 blends in Origin Coffee. One is called Stronghold, which interestingly is a blend from 3 Brazilian producers from different from different farms. That blend is created for baristas or customers who is really newly entrance to specialty coffee, or who doesn't really pay much attention to dialing the coffee. It's good for hotel, good for restaurants or pub, bar. Second one is Stronghold. Second one is Resolute. Resolute is a product that is roasted slightly lighter than Stronghold, but it has to be really, really sweet and friendly and accessible. And this coffee is for customer who is interested in specialty coffee and who want to pay more attention, who want to weight their shots, and who want to play around with the ratio. And this coffee is sweet, stew fruits, and chocolatey. And then the next one is slightly more vibrant. It's called Pathfinder. It's really fun. It's summery. And it's for people who are quite geeky actually and interested in specialty coffee and want to take it to the next level. And Pathfinder mostly is blended from Ethiopia or any other Kenyan coffee, or perhaps maybe Central American coffee that has higher acidity flavor attributes. Yeah.
So I am wondering if when I heard you describing these blends on the calls that we had and also today, I hear you didn't use the word approachable, but I'm wondering if that factors into how you distinguish these blends from each other.
Oh yeah, so my approachable as well is accessible and friendly. So Stronghold and Resolute are the type of coffee that it's easy drinking. You can make it as French press, espresso as well, easy to dial in. Pathfinder is a little bit, you have to pay more attention to it. Yeah.
I understand.
Did I answer your question?
Oh, yes. Dale.
So we'll talk about economics and how much we sell at each later. I'm in this privileged, strange position because in the UK we have two brands, so two slightly different business models. One of them is very similar to Origins and is blend-led. That's most of what they sell, and a similar range. There's an approachable one, there's one that's a little more, expensive coffee, washed coffee, a little harder to work with, and then there's like a super fancy one that is much more seasonal and less consistent through the year, and different customers buy into different things. But my other brand has been, which is e-commerce focused, consumer focused, and to a certain degree, single origin focused as well. We have a huge range of diverse coffees. We have 4 blends. We have a filter blend as well, but let's say the sales positioning of each blend is similar, but slightly different. We have a blend called Jailbreak, which is our version of accessible specialty coffee. So it is higher acidity than a traditional espresso, but balanced with enough sweetness so that when you're first making that journey, particularly a home consumer, they're first buying into espresso, they'll get pretty good results even if their equipment or their skills aren't quite where they want them. And it tastes really good, and it's easy and delicious and forgiving. We have another blend, which is a slightly different aesthetic of what coffee should taste like. So Jailbreak is mostly washed and maybe some honey processed coffees, that kind of flavor profile. Some acidity, high sweetness. Blake is a little more, it's both traditional and progressive. So the idea was to create a blend that was like old traditional Italian espresso, like heavy-bodied, syrupy, super sweet, but to use specialty grade coffees that suit that. Also suits a darker roast, very lightly. So we're using lots of naturals. So actually, as it's evolved and as we've kind of found our feet and our direction with it, now it's very natural heavy, ripe fermented fruit flavors, great body, suits a different customer preference, and actually works really, really well with milk, where we have a lot of customers there. Both of those blends, we have a lot of customers that the first time they buy from us, they buy a pack of 4 blends, or 1 single origin and 3 blends. They find one that they like, and maybe half the customers just keep buying that year on year, and that's as far as they want to go with coffee, because they want to learn their barista skills, whatever. They enjoy making a cappuccino every couple of days, or an espresso. And then we have a lot of customers who that becomes the gateway to other things. Maybe the single origin, or whatever, maybe just changing their mind, maybe buying blends from other roasters. I have a third blend called Jabberwocky, which is like our opinion of the state of the future. You know, it's super progressive coffees, it changes a lot, it's tied to a lot of our roasters' preferences with the green coffee they buy, so maybe reflect some of those more expensive, like, you know, the 87s, the 88s, whatever that we're buying, so it tends to have higher acidity. It can make a really balanced espresso. That's our goal with the blending process there, but it's always going to be higher acidity and harder to work with, harder to get a perfect shot. So I don't know what the antithesis of approachable is, but it bites sometimes when you get it wrong. But when it's great, it's amazing. And the reality is, I sell next to zero of it. Maybe it's a positioning tool sometimes to help people find, okay, well, we tried these blends, this is at the other end of that. What other options, single origins, whatever, are in the middle that will match their preferences?
Lovely. Now, one thing you said on one of our calls, I'm going to invite you to say something controversial here. I hope that's okay. You said that in your coffee program, you felt like you wanted to sell single origins, that you were leading towards or pushing towards single origins. Now, that feeds into a kind of a concept that I hear often, or have heard often over the years, that as specialty coffee roasters or buyers, it's our job to educate. And personally, I have a little bit of a hard time with that because it presupposes that we know the truth. But I'm wondering in that blend pack that you have with the 3 blends, with the whether you feel it's okay if someone just finds the blend they love, the jailbreak, or and just lives out their best life drinking that coffee every day, or whether it's our responsibility to keep pulling people towards some ideal that we establish.
Wow, that's not an easy question. God knows what I said. Our responsibility for my business is to accurately reflect the diversity of flavor that coffee can give. I think to say that there's one right answer would be immoral and would cut off, be it a blend or be it a single origin. Like, to say that this coffee from Brazil is what quality is, but this coffee from Indonesia is not quality because of my preferences or my aesthetics would be wrong, because they're both coffee and they can both be exceptional and different quality levels of them. I love single origin espresso. I love the fact that it is not always balanced and that they're different, and every time that I work with one, I'm enjoying different flavors. And I'm a weirdo, and I spend almost no money on coffee. I'm not a good customer to have. I'll buy from different roasteries, I'll buy one bag and then something else, whatever. I'd say my company, or has been, is a little different, a little outside the normal market of roasters. We're trying to be really progressive and carry this huge range. 50-60% of my customers, either a blend or maybe they find a single origin that they like and they want to buy that every time, and they fund my business and my ability to buy all these other coffees and have fun with doing it. What's really lucky for me is I've been able to find a diverse range of customers that want different things. So they might want to buy the same coffee each time they buy a coffee, but one of them wants to buy a blend, the heavy natural blend. One of them wants to buy a really high quality Brazil every time they buy. One of them just wants the filter blend. They have a Mocha Master, and that is good coffee to them. And without them, if I was just selling to people like me, my business would be very small and would have no impact on the industry. It would have no ability to do any of the cool things that I want to do, like working with a farmer and learning about coffee together.
Freda, do you have anything?
I feel similar to you, but I feel my responsibility is to make the coffee approachable. It should be friendly. It shouldn't be really sort of like controversial, even though I do buy controversial coffee, but I do believe that customer have their own preference, and I'm not the person to determine what preference you should have. And I'm happy to provide many different types of coffee. Like you said, our Pathfinder higher acidity coffee has less volume, 200 kilos a week, whereas Stronghold and Resolute, 4,000 kilos a week for that, for those blends. So the point is we should not just offer diversity of the coffee, but also make the coffee friendlier so more people can actually start to get in to try specialty coffee. And then we can grow together with the growers, together with the producers, that we buy more coffee. So I'm coming from a different perspective.
And it's a wonderful dovetail into our next topic.
We planned on that. No, we didn't.
Which is the business of blends. So I put a pyramid on the left, which speaks for my business, where I think of this as kind of the iceberg theory. At the very tip top, I sell a small amount of single origin, 10% or less. And then below that are all the blends that support, the bulk of my purchasing in my company. And with a lot of the producers we work with, it's similar, where the single origins that they produce are a very small amount, or the micro lots and single origins of the coffees that they sell, but the majority are, everything else. And so I was hoping to, hear from you guys what percentage of business at your multiple businesses or single business come from single origins, come from bespoke blends that we create specifically for customers. For example, I have a product called Project X that I roast for a large restaurant group and for a large national retailer. It's a unique product for one client, and it makes one of my bespoke blends. My top 3 blends make up by far the majority of what I sell. My espresso blend and 2 of my filter blends, that being America. What about the 2 of you? Why don't we start with you?
Okay. For me, the blend is similar to you. I guess 70% of the business is the blends, and so we roast 7,000 kilos a week, and roughly 4,000 to 5,000 is the blend. So it's actually quite a lot. For us, blend is something that we could sort of, because firstly, the blend we buy is roughly 83, 84. Now I know that doesn't mean anything, but the pricing is the most approachable pricing for our consumers. And then so in their cafe, they can have a house espresso, and then that's the most friendliest price for them. And for example, the blends, each year we buy, every 6 months we buy roughly 90,000 kilos for Resolute only. But that's a lot. So divided by times 2, that's 180,000. I'm not very good at math. So you can see that. But we do have amazing single origin coffee that is 86, 87, really, really good coffee. But each year we buy 700 bags from one producer, for example. So you can see the big scale of differences. And me personally, coming back to our previous my previous answer, the bigger volume can actually create better opportunity for the communities. For example, co-op, there are a lot of producers are contributing to this blend, and then if direct relationship business, they can plan ahead for their farm. They can buy more seedlings and then plan more areas for them to grow together with us.
Do you market the producers when you talk about your blends?
That's a very good question. We actually don't, because we have limited space for our tasting card. But that's actually, it's something we never really, we do have little chunk of this is the producer, and we do have producers we work with 11 years together as well. But you're right, like there's not much to justify, but we do put the producer's name on it and where is it coming from, so it's still traceable.
Dale, briefly, because we're running out of time.
So, two businesses. One business is very much like Freda's in terms of product range. One blend is actually something like 80% of the sales and 80% of our purchasing for that brand. It's an accessible price point. It's very scalable. It's probably the easiest one to find customers for because it has a flavor profile that is mass market, delivers on the promise of this is a good espresso. You know, it's an easy sell. And in that case, the blend name leads. That's what people say in a shop. You know, what's he taste? Oh, it's Empire. But on our bags, we carry the producer information. We're very proud of the 2 or 3 farms that are in it at a time. And it changes over the course of each year, but we try and maintain that flavor profile. My other brand is a total exception. I love it. I think it's a really unique, exciting direction to go. Blends, total of all the blends we sell, make up about 20% of our sales volume, and 80% is single origin. But a lot of those single origins will be being sold as espresso. That's the UK market, either to home baristas or to shops. And some of those shops, we have that bespoke blend, which we did for a long time, building custom blends with customers. It was something that a lot of people wouldn't do, and we were like, no, like we want you to taste the coffee, find the right product for you. But logistically, it's really difficult, particularly as seasonality comes in. Our coffees change every 3-4 months, so responding to that. So a lot of those customers we have serving single origin espresso, a single origin that they've chosen from the mix that is balanced. Sometimes those cafes will sell it and will package it as a blend with a name tied to their cafe. It could be we have a cafe in Manchester, and it's the Deer Hunter blend, and I'd say 80% of the time it's a single origin. They'll have the farmer's name on it. I'm kind of like uncomfortable with, like, just kill the name, but that name has that extrinsic value. It builds community that they're buying from that cafe. So, you know, whatever works, buy the coffee, great.
One coffee, 10,000 names.
For sure.
Well, let's move on to the last slide, which is the future of blends. Dale, let's start with you. What do you see coming up in the near and far future?
The cynical side of me is that the future gets more business focused, more margin focused, and blends are easier to sell. We can bulk buy coffees that are good but are lower cost. And so the cynical thing is, as our business grows, we'll grow more and more blend sales, and it'll get more and more boring for me, for that business. And actually, our business would serve less of a unique purpose, because you know what? They can buy a coffee that's just as good as that from someone as capable as Freda, and a lot of money gets wasted in the marketing spend of me trying to get Freda's customer or Freda trying to get mine within the market, and that money is lost to the consumer and lost to the producer and lost to me. That's my cynical side. My positive side is through blends and through different diverse buying programs from different roasters, every producer has a roaster that will be a perfect partner for them if only they could find them. And different blends that serve different customer groups, like that the roaster is targeting, allows more coffee to be sold and grown, and our whole industry to become a little more sustainable, because we're choosing the right partner and we're having distinctive businesses that customers can buy into and be loyal to the flavor. And honestly, the only valuable thing that we have in our business is long-term relationships with people. And that's with the producer and that's with the consumer. If someone buys from me once and goes somewhere else, that's not a business. But if I can find something that suits that specific consumer and people like them, and that's a product from a specific producer, I can come back year on year, we can grow our volumes, we can improve the quality that consumer values, and it is not just a sustainable business, but a business that wouldn't exist without our work. And that's a great thing to be a part of.
Symbiotic development.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I warned you not to say anything too smart. Freda, what's the future of coffee, of blends?
For me, not just about the relationship that you just mentioned, but for me, it's a tool for blend. It's a tool to contribute back to the community. The greater scale we buy, the more volume we buy, the more opportunity we can support the community, the coffee producers, for them to upscale their infrastructures, their qualities. And I think this is coming from a buyer side. I want to keep selling coffee because I want to buy more so I can work on social project with my local partners. And there are a lot of 3 parties auditing, and then we can look into the situation in different areas, different regions, and then we can work on how to support each other in a longer term.
Lovely. And I'll just close by saying that I see that currently in specialty coffee, there are an awful lot of roasters that are competing for a small amount of market share currently. However, there's a huge market for, kind of slightly below maybe cup score, however you measure the top of the top. And I think that blends are a powerful tool to grow the industry from the middle out. So I think that that's exciting for me to bring value to the rest of the supply chain by going after coffee sales that traditionally maybe are less beneficial for producers. And I think as it becomes more difficult, as there's more scarcity in quality coffee, there we go again, in specialty coffee due to, unpredictable weather, climate change, and increased demand, I think blends give us as roasters a little bit more flexibility to create the products, to meet that demand. So it's been a privilege getting to know both of you.
Thank you.
Learn a lot.
Same.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Okay. And a big thank you to Dale, Freda, and Tony. Unfortunately, we're out of time for questions. However, if you have anything you want to ask in particular, then we can field some questions outside. I'm sure the guys would be happy to answer anything that you have. Thank you very much, guys.